Hello everyone, welcome back to Today News K-Wave channel. This live broadcast has been a hot topic since its premiere. Many initially just wanted to watch casually, but ended up unable to look away because every moment felt too real to ignore. At first, nothing was particularly interesting. The atmosphere even seemed casual. But it was precisely from these simple things that everything began to feel different. From the very beginning of the live broadcast, the aura between them was warm. Not just a casual atmosphere, but a comfort that's hard to describe. The way they sat close together without keeping a distance, the way they occasionally glanced at each other as if making sure each other was there, it all felt very natural. There was no sense of contrivance, and perhaps that's what made the audience immediately feel, this is different. The most eye-catching moment was, of course, the moment when they unconsciously touched each other. It wasn't anything big or dramatic, but precisely because it seemed small and spontaneous, it felt more genuine. There was no reaction of surprise, no attempt to pull away. Instead, everything just happened, as if it were a normal occurrence between them. From then on, many fans began to worry and wonder. Their gazes also became a major highlight. There were a few seconds where they stared at each other, and the expressions they shared felt genuine, not just for entertainment. The small smiles that appeared for no apparent reason, the way they held back laughter when they noticed something in each other's eyes, these were all like tiny pieces that, when put together, formed a bigger picture. And the more you looked, the harder it was to dismiss them as coincidence. What was even more fascinating was that they didn't try to explain anything. There was no clarification, no conversation leading up to it. They simply continued to act as usual, joking, chatting casually, and occasionally laughing. But in between, small moments kept emerging, making viewers even more convinced that there was a closeness that couldn't be hidden. The fan reaction was immediate and explosive. Their timelines were filled with video clips, screenshots, and various analyses from various perspectives. Some focused on body language, others on facial expressions, and still others delved into details as small as hand position. Everyone seemed to be racing to find evidence of what they were feeling while watching the live broadcast. Some tried to remain calm and pass it off as a normal interaction. But on the other hand, many felt that this time was different. There was a consistency in the way they interacted, a palpable comfort, and most importantly, a sincerity that was hard to fake. Things like this usually can't be planned, especially when they happen repeatedly in casual situations. What made this live broadcast even more compelling was how they seemed to be truly themselves. There was no pressure to be perfect, no attempt to maintain excessive distance. Precisely because of this, everything felt more honest. The audience felt like they were being given a chance to see a side of them rarely seen, a more personal and intimate side. Ultimately, not everyone will share this view. Some see this as strong evidence of their closeness, while others choose to maintain a very close friendship. But one thing is certain. This live performance left a lasting impression on everyone who watched it. Because without the need for big statements or dramatic moments, they showed something simple yet meaningful. Something that emerged from habit, from comfort, and from a long-standing closeness. And precisely because it all felt so natural, many came to the same conclusion. This time it was truly hard to deny what they were seeing. It's no wonder fans were saying, "This can't be a lie anymore." The longer the live stream went on, the more it felt like something was different than usual. At first, many might have watched casually, assuming it was just a casual broadcast like the previous days. But slowly, the atmosphere changed. It wasn't because of any big, deliberately staged moments, but rather because of the small details that emerged unplanned. In fact, it was from there that everything felt more real and hard to ignore. There were brief silences that spoke volumes. Even when the conversation paused, when no words were spoken, their expressions still conveyed something. The way they glanced at each other, the small smiles that appeared for no apparent reason, even the reflexive movements that revealed each other's habits. All of these were like pieces of a puzzle that slowly formed a clearer picture for the audience. What kept fans on their toes was how natural their interactions seemed. There were none of the awkward pauses that usually occur when someone realizes they're being watched. Instead, they seemed comfortable in each other's presence, as if the camera wasn't even a concern. Even in the simplest moments, there was a consistent closeness. Several times, they seemed to approach each other without any particular reason. It wasn't because they had to share space or because of technical requirements, but more like a habit that had already formed. The physical closeness wasn't accompanied by overreactions. No attempts to distance themselves or conceal. In fact, that's what made many people feel that what they saw was honest. Spontaneous expressions were one of the most talked about things. There were moments when one of them laughed longer than usual simply because of the other's reaction. There were also moments when they seemed to understand each other without the need for lengthy explanations. Things like this often only happen when two people know each other well. The more they looked closely, the more it became apparent that there was a shared rhythm between them. Their complementary ways of speaking, their perfect timing when joking, and even their giving each other space to speak. All of this didn't just happen, but rather developed over a long period of interaction. And when all of this was clearly visible in front of the camera, it was natural for many to begin to attribute it to something more than mere coincidence. On the other hand, they continued the live stream casually, as if nothing special had happened. There was no attempt to confirm or deny anything. They were simply being themselves, speaking their usual way, and enjoying the moment. But precisely because there was no attempt to control perception, everything felt more genuine. The audience's reaction grew more heated as time went on. Many began replaying certain parts, trying to determine whether what they saw was actually happening or just a feeling. But the more they replayed, the clearer details they might have previously overlooked became. From there, the discussion grew, with various interpretations emerging from different perspectives. Some felt this was concrete evidence of a closeness they had only suspected. Others chose to maintain it as a very close friendship. These differing opinions only fueled the discussion, as everyone brought their own perspective. But beneath it all, there was one undeniable commonality. This live performance felt different. Small moments that might have previously been considered trivial now took center stage. The way they unconsciously touched each other, the way they remained close, and the spontaneous expressions they made all became endless topics of conversation. Things like this might not have been noticed much if they didn't happen repeatedly at the same time. Ultimately, this live broadcast left a strong impression on many. Not because of any major confessions or statements, but because of the authenticity of each moment. When something seems so natural and consistent, it's hard to dismiss it as mere coincidence. And perhaps that's where its appeal lies. It's not about definitively proving something, but about how simple moments can convey so much without needing explanation. Something that feels close, warm, and honest in its own way. It's no wonder that after the live broadcast ended, many were still talking about it, as if they hadn't fully grasped what they had just witnessed. What do you think, Army? Flushed face. Is this just a coincidence? Or is there something they can't hide anymore? Let us know what you think in the comments, and let's discuss it together. Fire! Don't forget to like if you're also excited to watch this live, and share with your friends to make it even more exciting. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest Jikook updates that always create excitement. Purple Heart. See you in the next video.